Hi everybody, Professor Gustin here, and in this video I want to talk about the syllabus. The syllabus for lab is it's kind of supplementary to lecture. So you've received a lecture syllabus with a lot of the foundational information about the course, but I want to just tell you a little bit of extra information about the lab. So you can click on the lab syllabus there, and I generally recommend always clicking this download because sometimes if you just scroll right here, the formatting is kind of messed up. So I typically would download, and I have a little thing up there to click. Actually, here I am. Okay, so there's our lab syllabus. I'm Professor Gustin. There's my email. The primary way you will communicate with me is through email. And I try to respond quickly. I'm very aware of the due dates in this course, that something, things happen around due dates. So I do check on them, but I do keep an eye on you throughout the semester. There's my office location. I don't have official office hours scheduled, but what I do for summer classes is just create them as needed. If you need to talk to me and it can't be resolved by email, or you don't want to resolve it by email, I am more than happy to come to campus and meet with you. So you would email me and say, can you be at campus at noon tomorrow? And I'll say, oh, I can't be there at noon, but I can be there at 12:30. Or, we'll compromise and find a time that we can meet. And my office is in Schuyler Hall, room 208. If you want to meet virtually, we can do that too. Again, you can say, could we meet virtually at noon on Tuesday? And I'll say, sure, and I'll send you a Google Meet link. And it's really, if you haven't used it before, it's really easy to use. And it's really nice for me to meet some of the students that way. So if you want to do office hours that way, I'm glad to do that too. As far as the course materials, anything in the course, any materials you need to purchase, you will have also purchased for lecture. So lecture and lab are using the same materials. That's the microbiology fundamentals, its clinical approach, and it has a McGraw-Hill Connect link that you'll buy with that. So, and I'm going to be doing a lot of these virtual labs through that. So you'll use the same materials for lecture and lab. Once you've signed up for McGraw-Hill Connect in lecture, you'll also be able to sign up in lab. I just put a little link if the CCC server is down, which doesn't seem to happen very often, rarely, but if it ever is, you can get to the course to your Brightspace course through that link. The format of the course is we have each week is divided into a part 1 and a part 2. And it says the part 1s are due on Wednesdays, except for week 1, which the part 1's due on Thursday because we missed Monday. This is the same schedule as we have in lecture. So part 1 is due on Wednesday. Part 2 is going to be due on Sunday. So you'll see in Brightspace week 1, part 1, week 1, part 2, week 2, part 1, week 2, part 2. That, remember, summer class, we're going really fast. So in a normal semester, we have lab once a week. You guys have lab twice a week. And keep that in mind that every week in class in the summer is 2 or 3 weeks in the regular semester. So do not get behind. You will drown. You've got to stick to these due dates. Our lab assessments, how do I grade you in lab? What kind of things are you going to be doing? We do these virtual labs that you'll see in McGraw-Hill Connect. You'll grow some bacteria or look through the microscope or that kind of thing. I have these things called lab assignments that I take from the textbook. That's just a little bit of the adaptive learning, kind of a quiz thing that you'll use these in lecture also, so you'll get familiar with them. And I just have a few of those. I have lab quizzes that, see, I don't ask you, let me just back up. Each week you'll fill out a lab handout. Or for each lab, I'm sorry, a couple a week. You'll fill out a lab handout. And the only way that I can know that you filled out the lab handout is to collect the lab handout and grade the whole thing, which I don't want to do. So what I do is I write a quiz, and the lab quiz will have questions from the lab handout. So you do not turn in the lab handouts, but when you go to take the lab quiz, it'll ask you questions that are on that handout. So if you have not filled it out, you're not going to be able to answer these questions. So that's my motivation. That's to motivate you to fill out the entire lab handout. We have 2 lab practicals. In a normal lab, in a live lab, you'd walk around the room, you'd look through microscopes, you'd look at petri dishes, different equipment, you might give them names, and I try to duplicate that experience online. So we have 2 lab practicals. You'll go back and you'll study your lab handouts that you filled in, and you'll use those to learn and to practice on and do the lab handouts. So, do the lab practicals. So the lab practicals have a lot of pictures on them. And I might show you a petri dish and say, oh, what is the name of this tool? Anyway, well, anyway, I'll give you more details on that when we get to it. But that's all online. So it says here, full credit is earned for the virtual labs and lab assignments completed by the due date. So just by completing the virtual labs and the lab handout, the lab assignments, you get 100%. The lab quizzes are open book, but I will grade those, and the lab practicals are closed book, and you'll use the proctoring program called Respondus. You'll learn how to do that in lecture before you do it in lab. So, and we're going to remind you in both lecture and lab that Chromebooks do not work for Respondus. You can do everything in this class using a Chromebook except take your 2 lab practicals. Okay, so you can't use Respondus, which is our proctoring program, with a Chromebook. You'll have to make other arrangements. If you, in lecture or lab, if you don't have something other than a Chromebook, or you don't want to put Respondus software on your own computer, there are a couple computers in our Learning Center that has Respondus on there. So you can talk to me personally about that, or you can call the Learning Center and ask them about when's it open, what computers can you use, and put the proctoring to take a proctored test. If you miss a test, any assignment, test, or a quiz, you just get a 0. I really, really, like I said, want to encourage you to keep up with this class. Don't get behind. It goes really, really fast. It's a full-time schedule. It's like you're taking a whole semester worth of work, not just one class at a time. So you're going to be busy. So do not get behind. That being said, every once in a while, somebody has an issue, like, something really big happened. I can finish this tomorrow instead of today. I am willing to make exceptions once in a while, not chronically. If you're chronically missing things and you can't keep up, you might not be in the right class. But if something happens, and it's a one-time thing, what I want you to do is email me and say, Professor Gustin, I can't finish it by tonight, but can I have an extension till 9 a.m. tomorrow morning? And I'm willing to do that. When you contact me about a missed assignment, I want you to tell me how you're going to solve the problem. How much time do you need? What assignment in particular? Okay. This is a rare or hopefully never happening occurrence, but if it does happen, contact me as soon as you can. Your course grades, you'll earn a single grade for the course for lecture and lab. So microbiology, you will get 1 grade at the end of the semester. The way we have it set up is we have a bright space section for lecture. You have a bright space section for lab. Your grades are on 2 separate sheets in 2 different bright space pages. What I will do at the end of each week is take your grades from that week and I will put them in the lecture section. So each week, after the due dates for that week, I will put your update the grades in the bright space page for lecture. Okay. That being said, keep your eye on the bright space page for lab in case I put in a grade wrong. Okay, so keep your eye on the Brightspace page for lab. Make sure your grades are getting in there. But then at the end of the due date for each week, I will update your entire course grade on the Brightspace page for lecture. Here is a schedule of what we're going to do. I have the week number, so week 1, part 1, which is where we are right now. You'll see there's a lab assignment, and it tells you all the activities that you're going to do. All these activities are also listed on that lab assignment. It tells you the due date right here. And so there's week 1, part 1 is due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m., 1 minute before midnight. Week 1, part 2, it's due on Sunday, 1 minute before midnight. And then all the subsequent weeks are due Wednesday and Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, okay, all the way through. Okay, so that's a syllabus. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be glad to help you out. I'm glad to have you in class. Good luck this semester, and I'll see you in another video.